This is Laura Handley, filming for Survival Dispatch, and today I'm going to talk about how to disinfect your everyday carry. As I'm sure you know, the COVID-19 pandemic is raging out there. Community transmission is happening all over the country, and the number of people infected just keeps rising. The best thing you can do right now to keep yourself and your loved ones safe is to not leave home unless you absolutely have to. If you have stores of food, now's the time to dip into them rather than risk a trip to the grocery store. If your kids want to see their friends, have them do a video chat rather than meeting in person. But odds are, at some point or another, someone in your household will have to go out. Maybe you'll need to pick up fresh food or prescription medications or run an errand for a quarantined friend or relative. There are steps you can take to protect yourself out there. You can wear disposable gloves, cover your face, wash your hands thoroughly once you get home. But despite all that, the virus could still hitch a ride home with you if the objects you use and pass around come into contact with it. So that's why we need some strategies. First of all, to limit what we use while we're out in public, and second, to disinfect what we do end up using when we get home. Let's start with that first topic. Now, the obvious way to keep your gear from picking up the virus is to leave it at home. This can work, to an extent. If all you're planning is a quick trip to the store, you might not need to bring along your bushcraft knife and 50 feet of paracord. But if you take this strategy too far, it defeats the purpose of everyday carry, which is to keep these useful items with us on the off chance we need them. A better plan is to keep most of your gear enclosed in a pocket, purse, or backpack. What I suggest, and you can adapt this to however you normally carry things, is to use one pouch or pocket for the items you know you'll need, like your car keys or your debit cards. Have one for the just-in-case items. If all goes well, this pouch will stay closed and cough-proof. And then leave one empty to put things in after you use them. That way, when you get home, you'll know exactly what needs disinfecting. So then, you made it home, you've got fresh gloves on, and you're standing in front of the sink with your EDC, ready to disinfect. The first thing to do is to separate your items by material. Make one pile for hard, solid things you're not worried about damaging, like your sunglasses, a knife, or the outside of a plastic first aid kit. Make one pile for soft, washable things like hats, bandanas, or cloth face masks. Make one pile for things like electronics and credit cards that need more careful handling. Make one for leather, which doesn't do well with most cleaning products, and then one for things that can't get wet at all, like paper products. This first pile is easy enough to handle. Run a disinfectant wipe or a rag soaked in bleach solution over the items, then let them sit for 10 to 15 minutes, or however long it says on the packaging of your cleaners. Make sure the solution is still visibly wet on them for this whole time. Then, when the time's up, rinse the items off and they'll be good to go. For the second pile, the washables, the easiest thing to do is to just stick them in the wash, using your usual detergent and the warmest water they can handle. You can also immerse them in a bleach solution or soak them with a disinfectant cleaner for the same amount of time as the hard objects. The third pile, electronics and other delicate things, needs a bit more care. Some of your devices might have come with instructions for disinfection. You saved those manuals, right? But if not, any alcohol-based wipes or sprays with at least 70% alcohol should work. Rub the devices down carefully. You'll want the solid parts of their surfaces to get visibly wet, just like with the hard items, but you don't want the cleaner to go down through the buttons or speakers or into the ports. And then for credit cards, just be careful around the magnetic strip and the spot where the chip is attached. These last two piles are where things get tricky. As I mentioned, leather doesn't always interact well with cleaners, since the chemicals in them can stain or degrade the finish. If you're willing to risk that cosmetic damage, you can try using the alcohol wipes. Maybe dab a little on a test patch first to see how the leather reacts. But if not, you'll have to use a specialized leather cleaner. These cleaners won't actually disinfect the leather, they're too weak to kill the virus. But, like soap and water, they'll help you scrub off enough of the viral particles to greatly reduce your risk of infection. And then the third option for leather, and the only real option for paper products, is quarantine. Viruses can't survive for long outside human hosts. If you set your things aside for a while, there's still some debate over how long, but estimates range from 72 hours to 9 days, and any viral particles on them will die off. Obviously, this isn't really convenient, and you'd have to restart the clock if you take the objects out and expose them again. So these are the things we'd most want to reconsider bringing with us. Could we maybe bring just a few tissues, or a single sheet of paper with our grocery list, and then throw them out once we get home? Could we pay with plastic rather than cash, or maybe replace that pencil and notepad with a notepad app? Survival is all about adaptability, after all, and new threats call for new tricks. And there you have it, how to disinfect your EDC as best we know at the moment. Keep in mind, though, that there's still a lot we don't know about this new virus and how it spreads. The recommendations have changed as we've learned more about it, and they may still change again. To make sure you're following the most current advice, you can check the CDC website, where they have a whole page on cleaning and disinfection. I know things seem scary right now, but if there's one thing to take away from all this talk of disinfection, it's that viruses are pretty fragile, and humans are pretty resourceful. We'll make it through this pandemic, as long as we stay cautious, stay home, and stay hopeful.